A woman escaping her toxic marriage and got on the wrong plane, and sat beside a mysterious man who turned out to be a millionaire CEO. Chapter 1: A one-way ticket to anywhere. The airport echoed with announcements, crying children, and the drag of roller bags. But to Emma Collins, it all sounded like silence. She stood at gate 7, hands trembling as she clutched a crumpled boarding pass, her wedding ring already discarded in the restroom trash can like a forgotten trinket. She hadn't planned it like this. No one does. 1 minute, she was baking banana bread in their suburban kitchen, the next, she was bleeding inside from yet another argument, another apology that never came. Her husband's words had become weapons, slicing deeper with each day. This time, she'd finally had enough. The plan was simple: Charleston. A coastal town, small and warm, where she could disappear and find herself again. But in her daze, eyes blurred with suppressed tears, Emma walked through the wrong gate and boarded a plane headed not to Charleston, but to Chicago. Chapter 2, Seat 14A and the stranger beside her. "Excuse me," a deep voice said gently as she shuffled into the row. Emma looked up, startled. The man in the window seat, tall, well-dressed in a charcoal gray blazer, offered a slight smile and stepped aside for her. His cologne smelled faintly of cedarwood and rain. As the plane ascended, Emma realized her mistake. Her heart raced, and she fumbled for her ticket. "Oh God! I'm on the wrong flight," she whispered aloud. "Where were you headed?" the man asked, not with mockery, but genuine curiosity. "Charleston," she murmured. "Not Chicago." I wasn't paying attention." "Well," he said, offering her a kind grin, "maybe Chicago's where you're meant to be." Emma tried to chuckle, but it cracked in the middle. She turned toward the window to hide the tears forming in her eyes. "Bad day?" he asked softly. She nodded, biting her lip. He didn't press further. Instead, he simply passed her a cloth napkin from his briefcase. Not a tissue. A soft, white, embroidered napkin, like something from a fancy restaurant. It was odd. But also, comforting. "I'm James," he said after a moment. "Emma," she replied, finally looking at him. Their eyes met. And something unspoken passed between them, a kind of shared human ache that needed no explanation. Chapter 3: The conversation that changed everything. The flight was nearly 3 hours. Enough time for two strangers to say things they hadn't even admitted to themselves. Emma found herself talking about the marriage, the emotional manipulation, the isolation, the way she had slowly disappeared inside herself. James didn't interrupt. He didn't offer advice. He just listened. When she paused, he finally spoke. "My wife died 5 years ago. Ovarian cancer. She was the strongest woman I've ever known. You remind me of her, in a way." Emma's heart sank. "I'm so sorry." She had a light about her, he continued. Even when everything was falling apart, she found something to smile about. "I think, maybe that's why I've spent 5 years working non-stop. Trying to build something in her honor." "What do you do?" she asked. He hesitated for a moment. "I run a company. Tech stuff. Most people think I'm a robot with a wallet. But that's not who I am, not really." Emma blinked. "Wait. James Wyatt? As in, Wyatt Solutions?" He smiled sheepishly. "Yeah, that's me." She stared, stunned. Wyatt Solutions was everywhere, from phone apps to medical software. She had read about him once in a magazine. A millionaire CEO known for staying out of the spotlight. "And you're sitting in coach," she blurted. "I like to see real people," he replied. "Besides, first class is lonely." Chapter 4: A detour that became destiny. When they landed, James turned to her. "Look, I know this might sound crazy. But if you don't have to be anywhere urgently, let me show you something. Emma hesitated. Then nodded. For the first time in months, her gut said yes. He took her to a quiet neighborhood just outside the city, to a modest building with a garden in front. Inside was a tech hub he'd built in his wife's name. It offered free coding classes for women re-entering the workforce, especially those leaving abusive relationships. We've helped over 300 women start over, James said, watching her reaction. You wouldn't believe how strong they become when someone simply believes in them. Tears welled in Emma's eyes again, but this time, they were different. Not from pain. But hope. I used to be a web designer, she whispered. Before I got married, before I lost myself. James smiled. Then maybe it's time to remember who you were. Or better yet, discover who you're meant to be. Chapter 5 Full Circle. 2 months later, Emma was still in Chicago. She had enrolled in the program. Found a small apartment. Cut her hair short, like she always wanted. She even laughed again, loud and unafraid. She and James had coffee sometimes. Long walks. No labels. Just kindness. And mutual respect. One afternoon, she walked past the airport on her way home and smiled. She'd gotten on the wrong plane that day. Or maybe, the right one. Epilogue, from wrong flight to right life. Life doesn't always give you signs. Sometimes it gives you mistakes. Accidents. Detours. And sometimes, those detours are the very thing that saves you. Emma's story wasn't about a man rescuing her. It was about one act of compassion that lit the spark for her to rescue herself. And that's the truth about kindness, it multiplies. One listening ear. One offered napkin. One chance encounter. And suddenly, the life you thought was ending, becomes the beginning of something beautiful.